Hello everybody, this is Todd, All Things Archery and Shooting, and welcome back to my channel. This is part 3 of my review of the Bear Super Mag 48. I did a part 1 unboxing and setup review, and then I did a part 2 which was a range time with this bow. So this is the part 3, the final part where I give you my final thoughts about this bow and whether I like the bow or not and whether I recommend it or not. And we're also going to rate the bow on my 6 criteria I rate all my bows on so you can compare it to other bows I've reviewed. All right, what we have here, as you see, as before, just a quick recap. It's a Bear Super Mag 48. It's a 48-inch AMO bow. It comes in at 50 pounds at 28 inches, what's on the bow itself, but the bow is actually coming in at 57 pounds at 28 inches. And in my draw length, it's coming in at 61 pounds, which my draw length is 29.5 inches. Now, I mentioned earlier, and I think in video number 1, I was going to go ahead and remove this side plate to see actually what the weight of the bow is, because Bear always puts their weight behind the side plate of their recurve bows. If you've got any kind of Bear bow, recurve, or long bow, if you pull that side plate off, you'll see the actual weight when it was tested at the factory. It's written right there. Now this one again, it says 50 pounds at 28 inches, but this bow comes in at 57 pounds. So I thought that was kind of odd. I never come across a Bear bow that actually was that far off in weight. So I popped off the old one up. The old side plate. I have another one laying around, and I looked behind it, and behind the side plate it said 56 pounds. All right, which I'm saying, okay, 56 pounds, and why would Bear put 55 pounds on 50 pounds on here instead of 55 pounds? I don't know. Maybe it's a marketing thing. Maybe it's a mishap in the factory. Maybe something got changed. I don't know, but it is 56 pounds, and on my draw gauge, my tiller machine is coming in just under 57 pounds. So 56 pounds is right where it's supposed to be at. And then my drawing again at 61 pounds. So that's a mistake Bear made, which is one of the few times I've seen him make a mistake like that, but I'm not going to complain. I like a heavier weight bow anyway. I'm used to shooting like a 52 to 53 pound bow. So this bow is a little bit heavier than what I'm used to at 61 pounds, but I mean, as smooth as bow shoots, and which we'll get over that in a few minutes, is just, I'm going to really like this bow for a heavyweight bow. Also, you can see I've got this bow set now. It's been a couple days since I did part 2 of the range review. I've had a chance to actually tune the bow properly. What it is, I got the string tuned with the proper brace height. Now the brace height is coming in right at 8 inches, not 8.5 like I tested it. It comes in right at 8 inches. I've got some Mighty Quiet Bear string silencers on it, which these work great. I wish they still made these. So I've got a few left from back in the day, but they work really good at quieting down a bowstring. I also made some arrows up for it. And the arrows are a 500 spine carbon arrow. I'm going to say, wait, 500 spine seems kind of light for a 61 pound recurve. Well, I thought that too, but I tried a lot of different spines from 340 up to 500. And believe it or not, these were the ones that shot the best, and they paper tuned the best, and they bear tuned the best. So these arrows now shoot like spears, straight ahead, like laser beams, and they shoot really well. They are a little bit heavier than what I'm used to shooting. These are 560 grains. For a 500 spine, which is kind of heavy for a 500 spine arrow. Most 500 spine arrows run under 500 grains. So what I did to get to that weight is I cut them at 30.5 inches. I added lighted notch to them, 4-inch turkey fletchings to them, and then I have a 100 grain insert in the front with a 100 grain point. So I'm running 200 grains out front right now, okay? And the bow shoots really well. I mean, it paper tunes perfect, cuts a single hole, and it bear tunes, same as so I can shoot bear shaft at 20 yards and shoot fletch shaft. They shoot within a group like that, so they shoot really close to each other. So bow's fully tuned out there. It shoots really well. I also added a Bear quiver to it, just to add the nostalgia of the old Bear style quiver. All right. What I like about the bow now, like I said, when I first got the bow, I really didn't care for the bow too much. I'll be honest with you. It's a really short bow. I'm used to a much longer bow, like a 60 or 62 inch. And I was really concerned about finger pinch when I first got it. I know where it says there's no finger pinch and it's no bow shot. But for a bow being this small, it's kind of hard to believe till you actually shoot one. So when first time I shot it and picked it up, it felt funny in the hand because that grip here is like so far forward right here. Even though it's an 8-inch brace height, it's like it feels so far forward, which is kind of it's a different feeling from a standard like recurve or longbow shooting. But after shooting for a few days, I realized that I really do like the bow. It did take me a few days to get on target with it, get my point of aim where it needed to be at with it. So, I mean, the bow doesn't have any finger pinch. I mean, I shoot 3 under, and I got a pretty long draw, 29.5 inches, and I had 0 finger pinch. And there's no bow shock at all, which is pretty basic. Usually shorter bows like this, especially a heavier weight bow, is going to have some hand shock. This didn't have any hand shock. So, and remember, this is the bow they said could not be built. And Fred Bear told him back in 1965, watch. And he built the bow, and it's been in production ever since. So saying that a bow can't be built and have Fred Bear do it, it's a test of his genius back in the day. And that the bow's still in production with Bear Archery right now, one of their most popular models, says a lot about this particular bow, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get to my rating down here. I rate all my bows on 6 criteria, based from 1 to 10 for each criteria for a total score of 60. So let's see what this bow rates at, all right? We're going to start first with the quality of the bow. And the quality is how well the bow's built and how it's fitted. There's any kind of issue with it. Well, this is a Bear bow, and Bear's always been known for their top-notch quality, and this bow is no exception at all. The bow has no sanding marks on it. It's got beautiful Babinga wood in it. Even the coin, it's got a slight recess to it, which is really nice. There's no gaps around where the coin is inserted into the riser at. I said there's no laminates coming apart. There's no glue lines at all, no sanding marks. And the matte finish is actually gorgeous on this bow. I really like it a lot. So, I mean, the tips are really pretty on this bow. They're really done well. All right. So, I mean, overall, quality it's got to be a 10 for Bear, okay? Now let's talk about the specifications of the bow. Now the specifications is where I'm a little bit upset about with Bear, which is the first time I've come across it, but I'm not complaining, don't get me wrong. Remember, this bow is supposed to be 50 pounds at 28 inches, so a 48-inch AMO length and 44 strung. Well, the bow is 48-inch AMO, and it's just over 44 inches strung, but the weight's wrong. It's not 50 pounds at 28 inches. Like I said before, this bow's coming in at 57 pounds at 28 inches and coming in at 61 pounds at my draw length. So the bow is not where it's supposed to be at specs-wise. I don't know why they marked it as a 50-pound bow. Maybe it's a marketing thing or they just missed it or what. But the bow is coming in at 57 pounds at 28 inches. So for specification, we're going to give it a 6. That's a big difference in weight, 6 pounds compared to what's on the bow. If someone's not used to shooting out and picked up a bow, and they expect to get a 50-pound bow and they get a 56-pound bow, some people might not like that. I mean, it doesn't bother me because I usually shoot 52, 53 pounds, but excuse me. But I mean, it is what it is. But I'm not going to complain. I'd rather have more weight than less weight anyway. All right, let's talk about shootability of the bow. Now, like I said, this bow took me a few days to get used to shooting. Most bows I can pick up and get on target within a couple hours of shooting. This one, it took me probably 2 or 3 days to get where I could really shoot it well at and get it where it would pattern correctly for me and get my my point of impact corrected and set up for this bow. But once I got all that figured out, I got a set of tuned arrows, and I got the brace sight set where it's supposed to be at. I mean, the bow's been shooting great since then. I have no problems with it. It shoots where I look at now. You saw in the review, it's very accurate. All right, it's not shooting high anymore. I fixed that problem as well by adjusting my knock height to where it needed to be at. So I got the shooter right where it goes at. And the arrows are now tuned for it, so I mean the bow shoots really, really well now. But right out of the box, when I first picked it up, wasn't that good of a shooter. I really didn't like it, so we'll give it a 7 on shootability. All right. Speed of the bow. And this is what really impressed me about this bow. I mean, this bow here it's a shorter bow, which most shorter bows are a little bit faster than say your longer counterparts. But with that faster speed, it sacrifices performance where you get hand shock and string slap and noise and finger pinch. But this bow has none of that, which is pretty impressive. Again, Fred Bear knew what he's doing when he designed this bow. So, I mean, and speed-wise, I mean, we talk about 490 grain shafts. Those are 8 grains per pound of draw weight. Remember, I'm shooting 61 pounds out of this bow. That thing was cranking out 195 feet per second with 42 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. All right, that's pretty impressive. Now, move up to the 610 grains. I like to shoot a little bit heavier weight arrow. A 610 grain arrow. Coming out of this bow, moving at 180 feet per second, all right, with 44 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. That is some impressive numbers. I don't care who you are or where company you are, what you say about it. That's impressive numbers for a recurve bow. Now, with these arrows here, these are coming in at 560 grain. These I tuned for the bow, so a little bit lighter. These are coming in right about 184 feet per second, roughly, okay? So it's still 184 feet per second. I'm running around 43 foot-pounds of kinetic energy with this setup now, which that'll hunt and kill anything in North America. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive for a bow. So speed, we got to give it a 10 on speed. The bow is just really fast. Let's talk about the quietness of the bow, okay? Now here's the other thing. When we first got the bow, it was not so loud, but not quiet either. I mean, without the string silencers on it, I heard a little bit of limb slap up here because it's so short. And there has the slightest bit of string oscillation when you let go of the arrow. I mean, for 1 or 2 seconds, the string vibrate a little bit. So it had a little bit of noise to it, so it wasn't really super quiet, but it wasn't really loud either, dude. Now that I've got the string sizers in and got the brace height tuned correctly, it's very, very quiet. One of the quietest bows I have right now, actually. So for quietness, we'll give it an 8, okay, overall. Value of the bow, let's talk about the value of the bow. Fred Bear's always wanted to build a product that every man can afford, okay, every working man can afford. And that was one of his first business goals when he first started Bear Archery back in the late 30s. He wanted to be able to build a bow for the masses that most anybody could afford on a working man's salary. And in fact, he's got one bow in his lineup, the Bear Grizzly. That's the model of that bow. It's the working man's bow. And Bear Archery's done that. His bows have never been exceedingly priced. They haven't been super cheap either, but they've been right where they need to be at for most of the working Americans to afford them. And once you get a Bear bow, they'll last. You won't buy another one. I mean, I've got bows in there from the early 60s. I got one that's from 58. Kodiak Special. It still shoots as good today as it did back in 1958. So Bear's always been known for its value and it builds on his bows, and the bows hold their value real well. Like this bow is new, $399. If you go to the secondhand market, you can find the Gainesville bows around $250 to $275. If you want to go way back to the Grayling edition of this same bow, you're probably $300, $350 roughly. So the bow's held its value real, considering its retails for $399, so it still holds its value real well. So we'll give it a 9 on value, okay? All right, overall that's going to give us a total score, let's see, 46 out of 60, okay? Which is put it not quite in the middle, but like the top 1/3 of bows I've tested. So I mean that's pretty impressive for a bow, a $4 bow. It's a great bow. So, all right, 46 out of 60 is the rating on this bow. All right, let's go here talk my final thoughts on this bow now. Like I said, when I first got the bow, I just tried to like it because it is so short. But a lot of you guys requested this bow on my channel and want me to do a review, and I was finally able to get Bear to send me one. And I got to tell you, at first, like I said, I didn't really like it, but now I'm really beginning to like this bow. I'm shooting a lot more, and I plan on using this bow to hunt with this season. I mean, I'm getting up there in age, almost 60 years old now. I don't really hunt out of tree stands anymore. I try not to anyway. I mostly hunt out of natural ground blinds that I build myself, or natural deadfalls I'll find when I'm on the trail, or sometimes out of a box blind or a pop-up blind. But mostly I do my hunting from blind, ground blinds, or spot and stalk. And this bow would be perfect for something inside like a ground blind, a pop-up blind, or even a natural blind. Even spot and stalking through the woods because it's so small, it doesn't really get mixed up with anything. So, I mean, no limbs are banging on branches above your head or nothing like that. And when you draw your bow, or you're sitting on the sitting position or kneeling position, you can draw a bow without worrying about the bottom limb hitting the ground or hitting your chair. So yeah, this would be a great bow for that kind of hunting, I think. And the bow performs really well. It's accurate now. You saw in part 2 how accurate the bow was. Like I said, was shooting high in all those videos. But now I got that tuned out completely. So the bow's shooting right to point of aim when I'm at 20 yards. And this bow at 40 yards, I'm able to shoot 4 to 5 inches at 40 yards with it, which is probably my max limit on a recurve. But most of my shots are under 20 yards anyway. So this bow is more than accurate for that. So I can recommend the bow on that. It's a really good bow, high quality bow. But I will say, I don't think I recommend it for a beginner though. It takes a lot of getting used to that short AMO. And you've really got to have your technique down, your form down with these shorter bows. If not, you're going to have stuff all over the place. So like I said, when I first started shooting this bow, I was all over the place. It took me a couple of days, literally 2 or 3 days, to really get this bow where I could shoot where I wanted to. Most bows I can pick up in a couple hours to get. This bow took a couple of days. So this bow's not really for the beginner. I would stick something more of the like the Bear Grizzly or something like that for the beginner. But this bow for the intermediate or advanced archer would be perfect for them. And if you're looking for a new bow to take to the woods this season, you could do worse than the Bear Super Mag 48, but you really can't do much better, I'll be honest with you. This is the way the bow is designed. This bow is designed to be a woods bow to hunt with. That's what it was designed for, and that's what it excels at. All right, well, I want to thank you guys for watching. This has been Todd with All Things Archery and Shooting. If you haven't already, please hit that subscription button for me, and also click that bell icon, that subscription button. That way I can notify you of upcoming videos. And give me a thumbs up too. And speaking of upcoming videos, I do have a couple cool things coming out. I've got to be comparing the Bear Super Mag 48 to the Bear Kodiak Magnum. Remember, the Kodiak Magnum, basically a cut down Kodiak Hunter, is a 52-inch bow instead of a 48-inch bow. So we're going to compare the two side by side and see how they perform. We'll do things like we'll shoot out some ground blinds. We'll do some walking through the woods just to compare the two, how each perform. Then we'll do a side-by-side comparison. We haven't done nothing like that before, and it'd be built to be doing a review both into a hunting setting or a simulated hunting setting, because it's not hunting season yet, but I got 20 acres of woods out there I can play in. So we'll do that and see how the two bows compare and see which one you'll like better. All right, so look for that. That'll be coming up soon. And also I've got another video of a grayling bear grizzly coming out. So I'm waiting for it to come in now. I bought that bow, stole it off eBay for $100. And it's the old green glass one, green fiberglass bow with the green fiberglass on the limbs and stuff. And green and the diamond wood color. Built in grayling. It's a 1971 bow, I believe it is. But when it comes in, I'll be doing a review on that, so look for that too, okay? All right, well, I want to thank you guys for watching, and until next time, y'all, ciao.